Yo, what is going on, homies? It's your boy Stumped back for another Optc video, and in today's video, we're over here on the global side of the game for the new release of the arena, BONE-KICHI Brook. So I have put out a video for X-Drake already. I'll leave a little card at the top of the video for you guys, but in today's video, I do have 3 of my own teams, and to honor the legacy of the boy Knight, we do have one of his teams as well. Link will be in the description to his channel and his video, but there is a 8-star and an 11-star difficulty for this event, and we do have both these arenas coming out, and I gotta say, BONE-KICHI is probably one of the harder arenas that has come out in a little while. I think Kamizo is probably up there, but comparing him to X-Drake, like, this arena is a lot harder than X-Drake, like, a lot harder. It's built around Kaido, so there are ways to cheese it with stuff like any of the Kaidos. Verse Kaido, Super Type Kaido, Dex Kaido, they all should work fairly well. But, just like regular arenas, there are limit break materials for the 11-star event, and you can get your hands on some Chopper Man missions by doing the 8-star and the 11-star once. There are some boosted units in Kaido, Zoro, Kamizo, Gukimara, Hiyori, and Toko, the new batch that has released, and the new free-to-play units. And, yeah, let's have a look at what the actual Brook does. So we'll quickly head over to this Brook. I gotta say, his art is actually quite nice. I really like his art. It's quite clean. His special does 100 times his attack in damage, non-type to all enemies at the end of 3 turns. So he has end-of-turn damage, which is really, really good. Can get around the resilience debuff and stuff like that. He delays all enemies for 2 turns, set the enemy's defense to 0 for 1 turn, which is actually quite good as well. And if there is only 1 enemy when the special is launched, he's going to double the damage dealt to defense down for 1 turn. And if there is 2 or more enemies, he's going to double the damage to delayed enemies. So he can be a self-proccing conditional boost depending on delay or defense down, depending on how many enemies there are. And if there is full immunity, so not partial immunity, full immunity, he's going to massively reduce the portion of each enemy's damage dealt that exceeds 3,000 for 2 turns. So if they have full immunity, he can basically get this guy to be a tanker. And if they don't, if they have partial immunity, you can get defense down, conditional, or delay conditional. So he has a pretty good special. And if not, he can give you your tanking abilities, and he does end-of-turn damage, which is really, really good. So that's enough about the unit. That's enough about the intro. Let's hop into the teams. So the first team in the video is a double sugar team. So this is the team. These are the supports. Let's hop in. So moving on to stage 3 now, we come up against Nami and Shinobu. So Nami and Shinobu are going to turn into a random color. Ideally, you really don't want Nami and Shinobu turning into a Dex unit, especially with this particular team. And then after the first turn, they're going to make all of our orbs unfavorable. So what we're going to do on this particular stage is we're actually going to use one of our Sober Mask specials. Well, the only Sober Mask. But the reason we're going to use Sober Mask special here is because Sober Mask has that amazing Sailor ability that whenever you guys use a special, Sober Mask actually gives himself cooldowns. And with that, we can actually do a butt ton of damage to Nami and Shinobu. Unfortunately, we can't get the kill, but that's okay. Not getting the kill doesn't matter too much. Make sure that you can just switch into the quick variation of Shiri though on the next turn. That is actually going to be fairly important. We can take them out on the second turn and then move on to stage 4. And against stage 4, we come up against Robin. Robin is going to give us the 3 only tap debuff, and that's why Sugar is really, really good. She's also going to remove our sound effects, do a 10,000 hit, so that's why Kaido is great for this, and give us 3 turns of attack down. So we're going to switch with our Shiri. That's going to give us the overheal mechanic. We can use their special to get the chain buff, as well as remove sound effects and the paralysis. And then with our Kaku special, we can actually remove the attack down. Now, you could probably hang on to the Shiri special now that I'm actually like really looking at it, but it doesn't matter it shouldn't matter too much. Finally, we're going to finish it off with our Sugar special. We're going to turn our 2 units that have used their specials into bears, and then we're going to use the super typing of the Sugar that used their special, which in this case was the Friend Captain. Ideally, you want to use the Friend Captain. And with that, we are just going to hit 3 perfects, and then the bears are going to make their way through that tap, and we can easily take out Robin. Moving on to the final stage now, we come up against BONE-KICHI Brook. Now, against Brook, he is going to have Threshold for 4 turns. He's going to have 2 turns of damage reduction and also 5 turns of defense up. So this is where utilizing the super type of Kaido works really, really well, because you can remove all the Threshold and the damage reduction. But for this particular team, we are utilizing the Robin special. Now, Brook will also give us a full board of block orbs, as well as give us the reduced chain coefficient reduction. So we have the support of Ace and Neptune to remove the chain coefficient reduction, as well as give us a color affinity buff. We are going to use our Sober Mask special. Sober Mask is going to rotate those block orbs, give us a nice chunky attack boost. Robin can remove all those nasty defensive effects. And then we can finish it off with our Sugar special. Sugar's going to turn the rest of the units into bears. And with the super typing, we get an orb buff. On this particular stage, you actually can't use an orb booster. Otherwise, Brook has an interrupt. And basically, just with those 3 buffs, we should be able to take out our boy Bonekichi Brook here. Hopefully. Sugar, nice. Once we do kill Bonekichi, he does have a revive mechanic. And with this revive mechanic, he comes back, he does a bunch of damage, he orb seals our crew, and he actually gives us 2 turns of hunger. But with the Shiri limit break, we can remove the hunger, which works really, really nicely. And then just with our normal taps and still having the bears, we can take out Bonekichi Brook on this particular turn. So there you guys go. That was the Sugar team. Let's move on to the next team now. Moving on to the next team now, we are utilizing double Sanji Pudding. I really wanted to use Shanks Crew, but I just don't have the time to sort of make that team work. But I will be looking at that team in the future. So I am using him as a sub, as I do normally like to beat new content with Shanks Crew. But this is the team. These are the supports. Let's dive in. So moving on to stage 3 now, we come up against Nami and Shinobu. Once again, they are going to just rotate into a random color. And unfortunately for us on this run, we actually got Dex, which is probably the worst one we could have got. They also have end of turn damage, which is a little bit annoying. So what we're going to do is we're going to use the switch abilities of our Shanks Crew, Vivi Rebecca, as well as Sanji Pudding. And that way we can actually just get a whole bunch of buffs. And that way we can just do a whole bunch of damage to Nami and Shinobu. If we don't take out Nami Shinobu on the first turn, which I don't think we're going to do here, they're just going to give us a full board of unfavorable orbs, and they will do that every single turn. Ideally, this actually works quite well, as you want to switch into the Dex variation of Vivi Rebecca before we use their special on the next turn. So we are going to switch back with them, and switching with Sanji Pudding allows us to actually get that healing for the following turn at 25% of the damage that we did take on this particular stage. So then we're going to get that healing back. We can move on to the Robin stage. And against Robin, she actually gives us that really annoying 3 tap debuff, 3 turns of paralysis, 3 turns of remove sound effects, and 3 turns of attack down. With the Markano support, we can remove the remove sound effects. And then we basically want to make sure we take out Robin on the first turn. As if we don't take out Robin, she's actually going to start blowing away like random sides, like left side, right side, middle row, all that sort of jazz. We have Chopper here. Chopper can remove the attack down and the paralysis. We can switch with Vivi Rebecca, use the Vivi Rebecca special to actually give us an attack and orb boost to our cerebrals and our strikers. And then we can switch back into Sanji with our friend captain, use the Sanji and Pudding special to give us a nice chunky heal, as well as a 2.25 times color affinity boost to our cerebrals and our fighter units. Now remember here, we can only use 3 taps. So ideally you want to tap with your Sanji Pudding, the other Sanji Pudding, as well as the Vivi Rebecca, and that way we just have heaps of damage to take out Robin on this particular stage. Moving on to the final stage now, against BONE-KICHI Brook, he is going to turn into a strength unit, which is a little bit annoying because we actually can't change Vivi Rebecca back into a quick unit. We're going to get a full board of block orbs, and he's going to reduce our chain growth multiplier. With the Brûlé support, we can get a full board of orbs, which is great, but he also has defense up, damage reduction, and threshold. So what we can do here is we can switch with our Sanji Pudding to be another quick unit. We can use our Sanji Pudding special to remove the defensive effects. And with the support of Onami, we can actually set the defense to 0, so we don't have to worry about the defense up. We can get an attack buff with our Lucy, and we can actually get that carrying over into the next turn for the revive, as well as get a 3-turn chain lock with Shanks Crew. And with all of those buffs live, we can actually take out Bonekichi Brook fairly easily. Beautiful. Now, once we do kill Bonekichi Brook, he is going to revive. He's going to do a 10,000 damage. He gives us a full board of Slot Bind, as well as giving us the 2 turns of hunger. So with Sanji Pudding and Vivi Rebecca, we can easily remove the hunger. We can switch back with our Vivi Rebecca, and because we have the carryover of the attack buff, as well as the chain lock with Shanks, we can easily take out Bonekichi. No issues whatsoever. So that was Sanji Pudding with the help of my boy Shanks Crew. So moving on to the next team now, we are utilizing a more optimal team, utilizing double Kaido. So this event was built for Kaido, so he actually works really, really well. So this is the team, these are the supports, let's dive in. Alright, so moving on to stage 3, we come up against Nami and Shinobu. Nami and Shinobu are going to turn into a random color, and they're going to wipe away our buffs. They have end of turn damage, and because of that end of turn damage, they're actually going to do around 10k, which actually triggers Kaido's Thunder Booger. And because of that, we're actually just going to get a whole bunch of free damage and easily just pretty much take this whole stage out. We're going to get the double damage debuff for Nami Shinobu, as well as give ourselves a full board of matching orbs, which works really, really well. Every single stage actually has like some sort of like 10k hit, and that way it's just going to trigger Kaido's special, which actually just works really, really well. And this is what I meant by like Kaido being like the perfect unit for this particular fight. Once they've basically taken all that damage, we can easily just basically single tap, take them out, and move on to the next stage against Orobi. Against Orobi, she's going to give us 3 turns of paralysis, attack down, and remove sound effects. And she is going to do around 10,000 damage when we move into the stage, which means we're going to get Kaido triggering his special just for free. She also gives that really annoying 3 taps only debuff, which makes Sugar so damn good. But on this particular stage, we're going to remove the paralysis and attack down with Akainu. If you don't have this Akainu, you can easily replace him with Kaku. That'll work absolutely fine as well. Then we can actually utilize the Sea Monster special. The Sea Monster is going to give us a Orb boost on this particular stage. And if we hit 3 perfects, we can actually carry that into the following stage. So what we're going to do here is we're actually just going to try and hit our 3 perfects, which can be a little bit tricky because of the remove sound effects buff. If you don't get that, don't worry, you'll still have enough damage on the final stage regardless. I just thought it was a cool, cheeky way to actually get around the not being able to use an orb boost on the final stage against BONE-KICHI Brook. Against BONE-KICHI, he is going to put up 2 turns of damage reduction, 4 turns of threshold, and 4 turns of defense up, which is actually really, really good because you can actually use Kaido's super typing to get around that besides the defense up. But the way I'm actually going to get around it, I'm actually going to utilize the double special activation of Daifuku, and with the support Smoker, we can actually get an attack buff for our quick units as well. Unfortunately though, Daifuku doesn't remove threshold, which can be a little bit annoying, but that's what we have the Kaido super types for. We're going to utilize the HP cut of the free-to-play bullet and the Bonavista support to give us a full board of orbs through the block orbs that we get. And then with this double super typing, we can actually remove the rest of the threshold, which is really, really good. Once we remove that threshold, we can pop both our Kaido specials and give us the double damage debuff. I'm actually just going to use 1. Actually, you know what? Screw it. We're going to use 2 just to get a bunch of free damage here. As once we kill Bonekichi, which we can easily do here, he has a revive mechanic, and when he revives, he actually does 10,000 damage. Because of Kaido's amazing captain ability of triggering his special, we can easily just take out Brook without even needing to do anything. So he's going to give us 2 turns of hunger. And because of that extra HP, Kaido is just going to go, see you later, Brook. So there you guys go. That was the double super type Kaido team. So moving on to the final team of the video, we are utilizing a double Shanks Crew team. And shout out to my boy Knight, as mentioned in the X-Drake video. I will be honoring the legacy of the great man. And funny enough, he actually had a Shanks Crew team. So this sort of like hits 2 birds with 1 stone for me, as I actually don't have to worry about building a Shanks Crew team now. The only crossover is Sanji Pudding. So this is the team. These are the subs. Let's dive in. So moving on to stage 3, we come up against Nami and Shinobi. Now they're going to turn into a random color, and they have end of turn damage. I think it's a % damage cut. It might just be like actual damage. It's around 10k every time, so it might just be actual damage. Lucky for us, we actually got Nami Shinobu as a strength unit, which is really, really handy, as we're going to have a lot of color affinity here. Now, as mentioned, this is Knight's team. I will leave a link to his video and his channel in the description below. So on this particular stage, we are just going to hit with our normal attacks and hopefully just do a whole bunch of damage to Nami and Shinobi here. Getting that extra color affinity helps out so much. As you can see, we do a butt ton of damage. Before we move on to the next stage, though, we do need to make sure that we have 4 of our quick units. So that way we're actually going to have, when Orobi gives us the negative orb buff, we can actually get the orb boost from Sengoku. It's very, very important that we actually do that. Otherwise, we're not going to get that 3-turn orb buff, and then we're going to have a bad time on the final stage. Once we hit stage 4, we come up against Orobi. She's going to give us 2 turns of remove special effects. She does a HP cut, gives us 3 turns of attack down, as well as 3 turns of paralysis. So what we can actually do on this particular stage, we can remove the sound effects with Markano, but that doesn't really matter because we have the Corazon special. Corazon's going to remove all those nasty defects for us, as well as give us a bunch of healing. So don't stress if you have to hang around on that Onami Shinobi stage. We can then use the special of Sengoku. Sengoku is going to give us a orb boost for 3 turns. We can then use the special of our Shanks Crew to give ourselves a 3-turn chain lock. We can switch with our other Shanks Crew to give ourselves some matching orbs and an attack boost. And then we can switch into Pudding. Very important we switch into Pudding. So then that way we actually have more color affinity on this stage. We can only hit with 3 units. That's the big thing about Robin. So we are going to start the chain with one of our Shanks Crews and then hit with our 2 Dex units and easily take out Robbie. See you later. Moving on to the final stage, we come up against BONE-KICHI Brook. He's actually going to turn into a strength unit, so you want to have as many quick units as possible on this particular stage. He also has 2 turns of damage reduction, 4 turns of threshold, 4 turns of defense up, and gives us a full board of block orbs. He also gives us 3 turns of chain coefficient reduction, so just be mindful of that as well. What we're going to do on this particular stage here is we are going to switch with our Sanji and Pudding, so that way we have some more color affinity. We can use the Sanji Pudding special to give us a heal, as well as remove the defensive effects, give us a color affinity boost, and set the defense to 0 with the Onami support. We can then use our Caesar special. Caesar's going to do a HP cut, lock our orbs, give us a full board of orbs through those block, as well as being a cerebral unit, which is really, really nice. That chopper support is really not essential at all, as we have the color affinity from Sanji and Pudding. And then finally, we're going to finish it off with our Shanks Crew special. And with that, we should have enough damage to take out BONE-KICHI Brook here. With the 3.5 times chain lock, with the orb boost, with the attack buff, we have plenty of damage there and we can easily take out BONE-KICHI. Once he dies though, he does have a res mechanic. He's going to give us 1 turn of orb seal, 2 turns of hunger, and that's pretty much it. He doesn't have much HP though. So we're going to switch with our Shanks Crew. We can remove the hunger with our Sanji and Pudding. And you need to make sure that you either remove the defense up or you have a way of setting the defense to 0 for multiple turns, just like the Onami support does. So there you guys go. Shout out to Knight once again. The legacy will continue. And that was the double Shanks Crew team. So I hope you guys enjoyed this one. If you did, make sure to go in there and belt the like button for me. If you're new to the channel, hit the big red subscribe button too. But guys, wherever you are in this beautiful world, please enjoy the rest of your day. As always, homies, I thank you for watching and I'll catch you all in the next one. Lights!